Okay, it's 8 o'clock already. In fact, it's 8:01. So I'm saying welcome to everybody. Okay, thank you so much, Esther. Welcome so much. Thank you so much. So welcome everybody. Welcome, 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 Esther. Once again, welcome, Praise. So good to have you. I would have really loved that the face to the name, but don't worry if your network will not allow that. It's fine. So sorry, 1 minute. I just want to drop a message on the group and tell everybody that we are live. You're welcome, Shimilari. Can anybody hear me? All right. I want us to wait for few minutes and have our people join us. I believe everybody is still trying to join or probably having issues with their network. So I want us to wait for like few minutes, just 2 minutes till 8:05. Please hang in there so that we have everybody join us. And our speaker is here with us tonight. So good to have her around. Yeah, so while we are waiting, I hope Esther, you're ready to learn tonight. I hope Praise, you're ready to learn. So please give that fire emoji if you're ready to learn. Give a reaction. Let me see our reactions. Let me know that we are ready to learn. I don't know. I'm having that feeling that we have there's so much wisdom that is going to be dispensed to us tonight, and then it's something that we're going to be carrying on. Okay, Praise, you want to say something? Praise, you're raising your hands. Okay. You can put your hands down now. It's fine. I understand. You're welcome, Miracle. Welcome. Welcome. So before you joined us, I was saying we're going to be waiting for few minutes, just 1 minute more to allow others to join before we kickstart tonight. And I was asking if everybody is ready for tonight's session. So I said, if you are ready, please drop a message or give a reaction. So, Miracle, I'm expecting your reaction. Every other person has dropped their reaction. I'm expecting our reaction. Like I said, I really wish to see everybody's faces. I want to see our face, right? But I don't think our network will allow us. Alright, I'm trying to wait for others. I think it's 8:05 already. By my time, it's 8:05. It's 8:05. Alright, so we're expecting more of us to join. While we are doing that, while we're waiting for them to join, welcome once again to our Friday night convo. This is a conversation that we have to help us, help our mental health, help us with our relationship with people. You are, yeah, thank you, Miracle. You're ready and expectant. We are comfortable with people regardless of their reactions and all. Most importantly, have control over our own reactions towards things. That we are not being reactive. We are responsive, and not just okay, not just giving reactions to things. Just all round when it comes to mental health, are we will have those discussions on Fridays. I believe it will be Fridays for now. Yeah, so and I know for like 2 weeks we have the first discussion, then we have the other one that talks about myths and um facts about mental health. And I believe we all enjoyed that discussion. So these are some of the things that we'll be looking at just to help ourselves, just to have a strong mental health, a balanced one that you will be able to function everywhere. Because believe me, without a balanced mental health, you will not be able to function anywhere. You won't be able to function anywhere. So welcome, Ogundipe. Sorry, I don't know if that your surname, but I really do not want to mispronounce your other name, so that's why I'm calling that. Welcome, Victoria. You're welcome. It's so good to have everybody. So good to have everybody. And I hope we are ready for tonight. So please quickly put in the chat box rather. Sorry. How ready are you in range of 0 to 100? How many percent ready are you? For me, I'm 99.9% ready. Trust me. 99.9% ready because I'm really, really ready tonight to get wisdom. So I'm waiting for us. How many percent ready are we? 0 to 100. Are you 90% ready? 80% ready? 70% ready? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Praise Esther. Miracle. I'm waiting. I hope we can hear me. Wow, Praise says he or she is 101% ready. That's interesting. 101% ready. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm expecting our responses. Victoria says she's 100% ready. Awesome. You're welcome, Yoma. I hope I pronounced that right. So, Ioma, before you joined us, we're asking how many percent ready are you for tonight's conversation? How many percent ready are you for tonight's conversation?
Okay, good evening. I'm 70% ready for this
Oh,
conversation. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. I love your voice. So soothing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. 70% ready. That's nice. Esther says she's 100% ready. All right, so quickly let's just move in. Let's move on to yep. So let's just break and ice, right? Let's just relax and have a critical thinking session. Okay, so if you have a supernatural power to change the world, what would be the first thing you would change? I really want everybody to speak. Who is going first before I start calling our names? Let's break the ice. Who is going first? If you have a supernatural power to change the world, what will be the first thing you will change? Or do you want me to go first? No, I'm not going first. I actually want us to go first. Okay, Esther, let's hear your voice. or do you want to use the chat box? Esther, are you there? No, it's okay if you want to use the
Yes,
chat
ma'am.
box, but if you can speak, just go on. Sorry. I'm waiting. Okay, Miracle. You can go on.
Yeah, thank you, ma. So, if I have a supernatural power to change the world, the first thing that just like so like I saw the question, first thing that came to my mind is suffering. I think I will just eradicate suffering in the world, like no suffering.
No suffering.
So that's yeah,
Hmm,
that would be the first thing
wow.
I would change.
That's a nice one. No suffering. I think it's related to the first thing everybody, especially children. They are comfortable, no stress. Just you being a child at heart all through your life. Innocent, compassionate, right? So I have a message in this chat box. Esther says that the first thing I will most definitely change is how people see themselves. This is really, really strong. To bring them into their identity in Christ. Awesome. How people see themselves. Yeah, to help them build their self confidence, healthy self esteem. This is so good. Thank you, Esther, for your contribution. I'm waiting for others' praise. Do you want to tell us what's that first thing you will change quickly before we dive in into today's session? Hi, Praise. Are you there?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So, what would I would love to change? I honestly don't know. But then, if I'm going to pick one thing, ah, I guess that I'm thinking so hard. Okay, what's the question again? Sorry, what's the question again?
Okay, if you have a supernatural power to change the world, what would be the first thing you will change?
What would be the first thing I would change? I'll probably, if it's possible, right? Probably, I'll probably erase corruption, so everybody will be judged fairly and accordingly. Yeah, erase corruption, and everybody should be judged by whatsoever they do. Yeah, that should be it.
Okay. Erase corruption. All right. That's nice. Thank you, Praise. Thank you for contributing to the question. You're welcome, Elijah. So, Elijah, welcome. Let's welcome you with this very interesting question. So, before you came in, we were asking that if you have a supernatural power to change the world, what would be the first thing you would change? As per Elijah now, I have a song on my mind right now, but I don't want to sing it. The song contains your name. So, as per Elijah, what will you be? What will be the first thing you change if you have supernatural power to change the world? Elijah, are you there, or do you still want to think about it? Okay, Yoma, you can go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the first thing I would love to change is the way we love each other. We should, selflessly love each other. Should be the first thing I would love to change. Because even if we love each other, things we really for ourselves sometimes, things we change for the better. So I think the first thing I would change is for everybody to love each other, or maybe to reduce the hate and increase the love. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's so sweet. Love, love, love. Yes, so that we pour so much love. I think we would just move on from there. Or do we have any other person that wants to answer the question? Any other person who wants to go for the question of changing the world? Actually, there is no right or wrong answers to this because definitely you you have different things. We have different perspective to work. We have different things we want to work on. So different things that would want to change. For me, actually, I think yes, I will end suffering because one of the major things that I feel is affecting what I'm about to mention is poverty. So first thing first I'm going to change is how parents parent their children. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to change. Maybe because I just love children, right? Yes, so that's the first thing I'm going to change. So please, okay, thank you. So we are just going to move right in into the call or into our discussion for tonight. Sorry, someone wants to join and I'm trying to make her join, but I'm not seeing. Okay, I've seen it. Yeah, welcome, Justina. So we're going to move it right into our discussion for tonight, and we have our speaker with us already. And I believe she has come with so much wisdom to dispense to give to us. She's our founder. For those of us that don't know her name is Miss Shemilore. I believe that when she comes on, she's probably going to introduce herself more. She's the founder of Menthali, and what we do is we ensure a balanced and stable mental health for everyone globally because we're a global brand, right? All right, so join me with a virtual standing ovation as I welcome Miss Shemilore Olaore. Please, I want to see our reactions.
I'm clapping from here. Can I stop clapping?
You're welcome,
Wow.
ma.
Oh, I'm super excited to be here tonight. I don't know why I'm blushing this much, but I think probably because of the energy that you've so much put into the introduction. Thank you so much, Evelyn. I'm super excited to be here. And to everybody, like she rightly said, I'm the founder of Mentally, but then I love to introduce myself, in a simpler way. Let's just act cool tonight. And firstly, I would love to apologize for, I can't really use my video camera now because the light issue here has been a lot. But I believe that hearing my voice, you can actually put a face to my voice. Anyways, like she rightly said, I am Shemilore Olaore. I'm a registered nurse. I'm the founder of Mentally. I'm a mental health advocate, and also I'm a project manager in the social development space. So, yes, tonight we are going to be talking about something really, really important that I feel like there is a need to start exposing people to this knowledge because recently I was meditating on something, and that is preventive medicine and curative medicine. Because what we do at Mentally is actually related to health, is majorly healthcare. So I was just thinking about it preventive medicine, curative medicine. How does this apply to mental health? And I realized that most mental health issues, they don't have a cure. They are holding on to a stage whereby the person has to be on drugs. So most times it's only managed, it's not cured. So I was just thinking that rather than getting to that point of we having to manage certain illnesses, how about we develop a structure whereby people can learn how to, and that is why we are talking about conflict management tonight. Yes, we are talking about conflict management tonight. But before I move to everything I have for tonight, I would love to ask a question. Have you ever experienced conflict before? Probably among your friends, your workplace, or even in your family? Please, I need people to respond to this. If is a discussion. It's a discussion. It's not just about me teaching everyone, but then, let's talk about it. Let's interact together. So, have you ever experienced it before? Please, you can unmute your mic. Oh, you can unmute your mic. Okay. I think Esther Igbarola. Sorry, I'm so sorry if I don't pronounce your name right. But let me just go by Esther. Do you mind, telling us about the experience and how was it like for you? Esther, can you hear me?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am.
Okay. In- Esther, can you hear me? Okay. I think she's having issues with her network.
Okay, can I just share one?
Yes, you can, please.
Okay. That was somebody that like we were three in this or like a three character now myself, that friend and then the other person. And then so I observed that every other of my friends that this person meets, they just have this assumption about me. And then she comes back to me to ask me some questions actually. Then I give her a response, thinking I'm just giving her a response. Okay, we are friends, so I can share anything with her. Then it was later I realized that she always go back to those people to like I don't know, like have all this kind of gossip conversation with them. So she had a particular conversation with another friend of mine that almost caused that a fight between myself and the other person. So I had to go back to her and okay, at first I was really angry. I think I grew up as somebody that do not really share things with people, especially when you offend me. I just in my mind I feel like I'm letting it go, but later I just noticed that it starts to show in my reaction to you and all. So I spoke to somebody about it and we discussed every other issues I've had with her before that time and
Mm.
that particular issue because from the explanation it felt like I was piling up issue. I've been piling up those issues. So this particular one really got me angry, and then I would decide I was not going to talk to her again. Funny
Oh, wow.
enough, we work in the same organization, and she's like my head in that particular organization. So there is no way I'm going to avoid that, right? We also attend the same church.
Wow. Wow.
So there was no way I was going to avoid her. There was no way I was going to say I'm not talking to her again because we are going to see every time. So it's more like she's my head in my organization. Then I am like an head to her in church.
Wow. Wow.
So I had to sit
It's
her
already
down.
becoming complex.
I had to sit down, then start giving everything she did wrong that I was not happy with. Then we had to sort it and discuss.
Awesome. Awesome. so much for sharing your story because I can actually relate to it very well. And it's one of the reasons why I felt like there is a need to actually talk about conflict management because it's something that exists everywhere. Yes, is in the home, in the family, in school, among your peers and your colleagues, even at your workplace, it exists everywhere. So let me just give us an overview of what I will be talking about tonight. Okay. Please, can you move to the next slide? Please, I'm coming. Okay, so the outline for today's discussion is that I will be talking about the introduction, understanding conflict, that is the definition and the types, sources of conflict, impact of conflict on individuals and organizations, conflict, steps to effective conflict. So tonight is really going to be a night for us to learn and not just learn, but also for us to practice everything that we are learning about. So now let's move to the introduction. Yes, let's move to the introduction. Now, I said something here. Disagreements are inevitable. That is, no matter where you are, no matter where you are born, where you are working, it is a normal thing to disagree with somebody. And the reason is because every one of us, we don't have the same perspective about life. And that is one truth that we must all hold so dear to us. But our view, one truth that you need to hold another person's perspective is different. Now, there can be somebody that maybe whenever something happens, you go into that isolation mode. Why some people, whenever something happens, they are always out there. We must talk about it today. Yes, let's talk about it. Now, the reason why things like that can happen is because, the first person might be that he or she is silenced, but the other person doesn't want to talk about it immediately. So can you see that perspective differs? And I said, regardless of these situations, but what distinguish us is how we respond to these situations. That is, no matter where you are, no matter the stage of life you are in, we are always going to be faced with challenges. But what actually distinguish us is our response to these challenges. That is why I tell people, do not react to situations, rather respond to it. Because are you following? Are we following? Please, you can just use the chat box so that we know that we are together.
Yes,
Awesome. So we are
yes,
not, humans are actually programmed in such a way that when things happen, your body reacts to it. But then, actually, a sign of emotional intelligence is the ability to be able to respond to things and not react. I call response. Response is a constructive feedback, while reaction is a negative feedback actually. When we talk about medicine, when somebody use a drug and then the person is suddenly having some side effects, we call it reaction, not response. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, but then if the person is actually responding to treatment, we call it, she or she is responding to treatment. Can you see the difference between reaction and response? So response is a constructive, positive feedback. And even if it's going to be a negative feedback, it is highly intelligent. That is, it has been processed before being talked about. But when you talk about reaction, immediately it is eating you are returning it back. And that is not meant to be. Now, conflict can happen anywhere and at any time. However, it is important to learn how to effectively manage it. That is, conflict can happen anywhere. In fact, it can happen with the people that you don't even think that they can do something like that. So that is to tell you that it is a normality of life. But how you respond to it is what determines the level of your intelligence emotionally and mentally. Now, let's go into understanding conflict. Conflict, yes. Let's move into that. Now, before I even start anything, I would love to define some terms. Now, when we talk about conflict is actually a disagreement or difference in opinion between or among individuals that can be potentially harmful to any relationship or organization. Are we following?
Yes, I am. Yes, we have responses in chat.
Yes, ma'am, you're following.
Okay. So as I was saying, conflict is a disagreement, is a difference in opinion. That is, it is difference between conflict and disagreement. I define conflict to be a prolonged form of disagreement. That is, that thing has happened, but it is not solved immediately. So it has extended over a period of time, which can be hours or even days. But when we talk about disagreement is something that happens immediately. Like it is something, how would I put it now? It can happen suddenly, and then everything will just be there. So that means disagreement can actually graduate into conflict when it is not resolved immediately. Do you see the difference now? So when we talk about conflict management is the act of using certain skills, to that is just break the word into two: conflict and management. That is the way I manage conflict, the way I manage disagreement. Can you see that it is one of the skills that is actually needed, especially people that they are going to be working with individuals in terms of people management, because there is no how conflicts will definitely happen when you are handling on. So now, the goal of conflict management is not to eliminate conflicts. Are you seeing that now? So the goal of we talking about conflict management is not for us to actually eliminate conflicts, because no matter how much you try to eliminate conflicts, it will still exist. But then the goal is potentially negative situation into opportunities for growth. Do you see now? So that means conflict, but it's for us to be able to, know, intelligently manage. Please, are we following?
Yes, ma.
Okay. Please, I'm coming. I don't know, my phone is.
Yes, now we are following, ma.
Okay. Please, I'm coming. I don't know why my phone is hanging. Why? Why? Okay. Just give me a few minutes, please. Okay. Okay. So now let's move to the types of conflicts. I've been able to define what conflict is, and also I've been able to define about the types of, yes, I although, but let's check it. So now we have interpersonal conflicts. You know, when we call something interpersonal, that is between two or more people. GC now. So that means when conflict is existing between two or more people, we call it interpersonal. Just like we say interpersonal relationship. Like your friends, your colleagues in school. Another thing is intra conflict. That means it's talking about that individual himself. I explained this here that intrapersonal conflict is a kind of conflict that occurs within individual. And it is often internal struggles. That is, when you are struggling to make decisions, or when you are struggling with some value system or with some emotion, that kind of conflict, that means you are in conflict with yourself. That is intrapersonal conflict. Now, another one is organizational conflict. That is the one that exists in the organization. And that is why, for those people that are leading organizations, there is a need to be, to know how to manage conflict in the organization. We are still going to get there. And I will tell you the reason why it is very important. So, other types of conflict that I also listed is intergroup conflict, that is between groups. We also have intra-group conflict, that is within group members. When we talk about inter means between one or two people. But when we talk about intra, that is within that same house. So when we talk about intra-group conflict, that means it is within the team members of that group. Do you see that now? So we also have cross-cultural conflicts, and we can actually call that one to inter-tribal conflicts. That is what exists between cultures, cultural clash, tribal clash, and things like that. So let's move to the next slide. About the sources of conflict. So when we talk about the sources of conflict, that is, we are just talking about what can bring about conflict. What can bring about conflict? So the first one is miscommunication. So the first thing is miscommunication or lack of communication. Most times, this even occurs within roommates. Most times, I don't know. Have you ever experienced that with your roommate before, whereby they are trying to say something and then they are interpreting it to something else? So when there is a misinterpreting it to something else, that can bring about conflict. And another thing is lack of communication. It is a thing to miscommunicate, is another thing to not even communicate at all. So that means when you miscommunicate, it can bring about conflict. And when you also don't communicate, for example, probably you wanted to take your friend's, probably you want to wear your friend's shoe for an event, and you did not even tell her earlier. Especially those people that are they're so personal with their things. Only for her to get home and then she can't find her shoe, and then probably you got home at night and then you walked in with the shoe, and the person is now like, when did we start that one? Do you know that something as little as that can cause conflict within friends? So another one is different in values and beliefs. That is, when your personal values don't align with the individual, there can be issues. We also have resource scarcity, that when it comes to money, in fact, this one used to cause conflict a lot. A lot. When we hear money can also cause issue. Material things can also cause issues. Another thing is personality and behavioral difference. That is the way I relate, my kind of behavior, my kind of personality can also bring about conflict. For example, I might be an extrovert and my friend might be an introvert. There can be issues with, probably I love, as an extrovert, you always want to be out there. And then your friend is just this person that I just want to be, cool headed, so happen. And everything just turn out to be, and as an extrovert, you always want to speak up. You don't even care. Do you know that something as little as that can also bring about issues? That's another thing. And another thing is goals and priority differences. That is, my priority might be different from my friend's priority. And if there is no alignment of priorities, there can be issues. So I'm trying to open our eyes to see sources of conflict. Many of us, we've experienced maybe one or two out of all these things. We also have power and authority issue. Just like the story Evelyn shared with us earlier, how that the lady is even her boss at work and she is her boss in church. Do you know that something as little as that can easily beef each other? Okay, when you're at work, I know where to get you. And when she's in church, Evelyn will be waiting for her that maybe you come to church now. I'm your leader. Should be conflict. Another thing is also power. Stress can make you to behave irrationally, especially when you are so stressed. You can end up saying things that you don't even mean, especially when you are pressured. You can say things that you don't even mean. And that is why when you are under pressure, be careful of how you act, because there's high tendency that you can act irrationally, which is not meant to be. And the last thing is unresolved past issues, especially for people that love to keep issues, they will pile it up for the person, and one day everything will just explode. Well, we are going to talk about those kind of people. Let's move to the next slide. But are we still together?
Yes, mom.
So
Yes,
now,
ma.
the purpose of actually talking about conflict management is not just for us to learn. It's not just for us to learn, but also for us to learn when it comes to organizational settings, that is workplace culture. Now, we have emotional and mental health issues. That one is even certain. Let me say, is one of the first thing that you will experience. So, emotional and mental health issues like stress, anxiety, and even burnout. Another thing is loss of focus and low productivity. When there is issue, there is high tendency that you will lose focus. And once you lose focus, your productivity rate will be low. That you are even angry with is even somebody that you see daily. So that is headache every day. Do you see that now? So there's high tendency that you will always be hungry when you see the person. Another thing is thinking too much. Yes, and there's something about pain. Once you start having pain, there's a probability that you have high blood pressure, because there is a link between pain and high blood pressure. That will be another topic for another day, because it's also an aspect of mental health that we'll explore. So we also have conflict. There's no how to put pressure on your relationships, and there can be isolation, decreased efficiency, and also reputation damage. Now, what that reputation damage means is that you can be so much, you are having issues with people. You end up communicating who you are not to people, because most times when there is issues, there's high tendency that you can act irrationally. And at the end of the day, you will now get back home, you will now start thinking, why did I say that? Why did I do something like that? That is reputation damage. So on the organization, there will be a decrease in productivity. And what does that mean? It means that when there is conflict in the organization, there will be gossip. You will see employees, they'll start ganging around. You will see them in twos and threes. They'll be doing bestie in their workplace, gossiping about somebody else. How many of you have even experienced that before? You've experienced that in your workplace before. You can just comment in the chat box. Are we still together? Oh, beautiful. When there is conflict,
Yes, that we are still
you
here.
will see people gossiping. You see that gossiping is a whole lot. You will see people gossiping, and another thing is low work morale and job satisfaction, because once there is gossip, the environment is already becoming toxic and hostile, because people that they are being gossiped about, they will no longer feel safe in the organization. It will be hard to achieve anything as a team. That is when this one is bringing this idea, this one is countering it. There won't be effective team working. And the last thing is damage to organization reputation, because Once there is conflict, there's that tendency that they'll start talking about the organization itself too. That there is one sister in our organization. You see, whenever she comes, she used to do I too know. Before you know, you are communicating it to people that are not even in the organization. Thereby, you are already projecting the organization as, see, these people here, they are bad people. Do you see that? So now let's move to the next slide. So I'll be talking about yes, let's talk about conflict management style. Yes, this is the part that I might actually take a little bit time, and it seems that this call will even end in the next 12 minutes. But let's see what God can do. Yes. So
Yes, so I was going to mention that I already raised my hand. So please, if in case the call ends in, I was told it's going to end in less than 15 minutes. And please, if it ends, I would please want to appeal to us to join again. Just click on the link and join again. Thank you.
okay, thank you so much. So now let's move to organize conflict management style. There are five conflict management style, and I will be explaining it in the simplest term that I can. We have competing, collaborating, avoiding, compromise, and accommodating. Now let's move to the next slide to explain each of it. So when we talk about the first one is let's talk about style one, the avoiding style. And many of us do this a lot. Once there is issue, what we do is that we just try and avoid it, or we ignore it. It's actually a style that you can use in managing conflicts. However, you see all these conflict management styles, they have their pros and cons. They have their advantage and their disadvantages. And that is what I even shared here. Now, when it comes to avoiding, you intentionally avoid that situation. You don't even want to talk about it. Now, what is the advantage of this style? It is useful when the conflict is tribal, that is, it's just something small that you can overlook, or when you need time to think about it before you respond. Can you see now? So when you avoid situation, that means it is easier that, okay, this thing is just small, I can just avoid it. Well, I can just ignore it, Jerry. Or okay, let me just reflect, let me think about it and reflect. So when you want to take time to think about it, what you do is that at that period, you just ignore it, you avoid it. But the disadvantage is that if you don't address it, the problem will remain unsolved, and it will potentially cause them to escalate over time. That means if you keep avoiding situation, you keep avoiding it, a day will come whereby you will no longer be able to avoid it, and at that time it can escalate. That is the first management style. So now, I said that every management style has an advantage and a disadvantage. So that means you can actually use the avoiding method when probably the situation is something that it does not really count. So you can just ignore it, or probably you need time to think about it. That is when you use the avoiding type. However, remember that if you avoid it for too long, one day it will escalate and it will cause bigger problem. The second style now is accommodating. What does this really mean? From the word accommodate, that means when the situation happens, you just yield to the other person's, needs. That is, okay, what is she saying? Let me just agree. Do you see now? So you accommodate other people's errors. You just accommodate because you don't want, like someone will say, I don't want wahala. Let us just be fine. Do you get now? So now it actually has an advantage, and it is that it will help you to preserve relationship. When you already know that, oh, this person has started again, let me just accept the person like that. That is, you will preserve that relationship though. But then when your needs is neglected for too long, you can resent that person. I don't know. Are we getting what I'm saying? Are we following? Please, are we following? Let me know if we are still together. If you are still with me, please let me know. Can we
Yes, we are still here.
Awesome. So now I talked about the accommodating type. That means, well, let me just keep accommodating. Let me just keep accepting this person for who they are. And actually, it's actually cool, the way we date. You get. But then the disadvantage is you will start to resent that person, and resentment starts. You it is not really, you won't even know, it's unconscious. But one day you just realize that you don't even want to have anything to do with the person again. Now let's move to the third style. The third style now is competing. Yes, and competing, sorry. It means that both of you are doing the bass boss. You are competing on whose idea we stand. And these are the people that I no go gree, me too, I no go gree. Let's see who we stand. Do you get now? So that is the competing, and most especially when you are in the case of emergency. So you need to do something immediately, or in the case of emergency. So you can quickly do that. You can, okay, this person is saying this person is saying this. Which one we stand? The one that can negotiate the best we actually have the reward. Do you see now? So it is good for if you want something sudden, if it's a case of emergency. But the disadvantage is that it can damage relationship, because this person is trying to be right, you are also trying to be right, everybody is fighting to be right. At the end of the day, the person that knows how to negotiate well will win. And if you are not careful, you actually have resentment in your heart, and before you know, that relationship is damaged. That is the third type. The fourth one now is the compromising style. That is, both of you will end up finding a middle ground. But one thing about this middle ground is that I am not satisfied. The other person too is not satisfied. But then, for the sake of peace, let's just be in the middle. Are you getting the way I'm explaining it in a simpler terms like that? That means we are not satisfied. Do you see now? So the advantage is that, okay, we need to get what we want. We need to cooperate. Oh, that is the advantage. So for us to cooperate, we must agree to one thing. And even that agreeing to one thing is not as if I am satisfied, and it's not as if the other person is satisfied. But for the sake of peace, let's just agree on something. So now that is the advantage. But the disadvantage is that you are not satisfied, I am not satisfied. That means we will become passive about that thing, because anyways, I'm not really freaked about it. I'm not really interested about it. But then, because of peace, I just have to let it be like that. The disadvantage is that it will not, neither the parties are fulfilled or satisfied. And that means even what you are deciding on, it will be less effective, because it's not really coming from your heart. So now let's talk about style 5, which is the last one. Then, as I'm explaining this, I want you to be checking yourself, because the goal of this webinar is not for us to have head knowledge, but for us to be able to learn how to analyze things. And when we are faced with that situation, we'll be able to handle it effectively. Now, the last one is collaborating. Now, this is also similar to accommodating. When we talk about collaborating, that means you are trying to be right. I'm also trying to be right. But then, intelligently, what we do is that we need to agree to a point. That is, we need to find a win-win solution to the issue. That means you will be satisfied, I will also be satisfied, and we'll be able to work together. You see, this kind of management style is actually good for long-term solution. If you are thinking long time, that is, okay, this thing is still futuristic, let's agree to a win-win solution, so that we can both be pleased. Do you see now? But the disadvantage is that it can be time consuming before you will come to realization of, okay, let's go with this idea. It will take time. So that means this kind of style cannot be used in emergency, except if both parties are emotionally intelligent. The only time that you can use collaborating is when probably there is enough time to think about it, or both parties are actually emotionally intelligent. So those are the conflict management styles that we have. And guess what? All these styles are actually useful, sincerely, but then it is not applicable in all situations. Now it is your responsibility to know when to use avoiding style, or when to use accommodating style, or when to use competitive style. Do you see now? So you must be able to identify which situation warrants me to use the avoiding style, which situations warrant me to use the accommodating style. So you need to be able to understand that. Now let's move to the next slide. Evelyn, is it possible for us to end this call now and rejoin, since I want to start a new topic? Evelyn, can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do that.
Can we continue?
All right, please let's leave the call now and then rejoin, please. Thank you, everybody.
And I think probably I will have to share my slide on the community page, so that you can always go through it again. And also, by the grace of God, the recording of this webinar will be live on our YouTube page, by the grace of God, before the end of this week. It will be live. So now let's talk about the skills needed in managing conflict. You will realize that managing conflict is something very intelligent, and it's something that there is a need for you to have certain skills for you to be able to manage it effectively, because we are dealing with people. That is the truth. We are dealing with people, and when it comes to people, one must be very, in the sense that you are not biased when it comes to approaching matters. And that is why I'll be talking about the skills that are needed in managing conflict. The first one is active listening. Now, which conflict management style can you use in that particular situation? You must firstly learn how to listen. Active listening, that is the ability to hear from the parties, probably within your team. Okay, what is this person saying? What is this person saying? You must be able to listen actively, not just that you are narrow minded with your thoughts. So active listening is the first one. The second one is effective communication. Now, when we talk about communication, communication is in two ways. We have the verbal and non-verbal communication. So when we talk about the verbal communication, this talks about your choice of language, choice of language, your tone. Some people, they will say that they are addressing matter, and the way their tone sound, it sounds as if they are attacking the other person. And they will be telling you that I'm just trying to explain now, but then the tone at which they are using to explain is communicating something else. And that is why some people, they will think that they are trying to, address a matter, but they are actually not addressing it. Rather, they are attacking the person. So your verbal communication matters a lot in terms of your choice of language. What kind of language do you use? Imagine somebody that wants to settle quarrel, and you're saying that, can you stop being stupid? Something like that, you have already spoiled everything just by the word stupid. Or probably you're trying to settle a dispute amongst people, and then you're saying that, can you guys stop acting like babies? In your mouth. No. So your choice of language matters a whole lot. That is, you don't use any kind of language to address matter, because you are dealing with different people, and the way people will react to things differs. That is that. And also for your non-verbal communication, it talks about your body language. Some people can be saying something else, and then their body language is reading something else. You can't be speaking that, oh, you guys, can we stop? Okay, let's not do this. Okay, you are saying this right, and you are saying this right. Okay, can we come together? Can we put the ideas together and settle with this? And as you're saying that, you are actually eyeing the other person. person, you are hiring the other person. That is something positive, but your body is saying totally opposite to what you meant. Another thing is empathy. Every individual must learn empathy. And I will explain what empathy is. Empathy means that you recognize other people's feeling and you share how they feel. That is, somebody can be hungry. If I am somebody that has empathy, the way I will approach the matter is, oh, I understand that you are hungry. That is, you help them to validate their feelings that, okay, it's actually okay to be hungry. Do you see now? So you must be able to share other people's feelings. Another thing is problem solving skills. That is, as much as you are trying to control conflict, you must be able to solve problems. What's the point of use? That is your manner of approach to circumstances. The way you present matters. The way you present matters. I hear that one. So so your your presentation skills matters. That is the way you present situations. How do you construct your words? How do you approach matters? How are you able to recognize your own feelings, understand your own feelings, and also understand the feelings of others in such a way that you are not just being arrogant with handling situation, but you can intelligently, contribute to matters and everything will get solved just because you are able to recognize the emotions of others. Another thing is negotiation. I talked about negotiation. Wow, that is, somebody is talking, I have to be right. You are also talking, I need to be right. So the person that will win that argument is the one that knows how to negotiate well. So as an individual, you must be able to learn how to negotiate. Now, when I mean negotiate, that is, when you are negotiating, you are not just talking irrationally that this is what we are doing and that is it. And say that, okay, this is what we should do and this is why we should follow this method. That is constructive. That is, you can give a definitive um a definition your own way. That is a constructive kind of negotiation. And another thing is meditation and critical thinking. That is, before you can even approach any matter, you must be able to think about it again. That, okay, this thing that I want to talk about, okay, let me, inside me, who is right? Okay, this person is right, but how can I, communicate in such a way that both of them will actually, I can satisfy both of them ego. That is, I will satisfy their ego, yet I will make them to, to also agree to a point. That is meditation and critical thinking. And another thing is patience. When it comes to handling conflicts, you must be patient because how will I put it now? The mental strength of everybody differs. So you have to be very, very patient. And the last thing is objectivity. That is the ability to be unbiased, the ability to sit on the fence, yet you are able to manage the situation. Can you see that conflict management is actually an ambiguous thing? But if you can learn it, you will realize that you won't be holding offenses again because you already learn how to manage situations like that in such a way that you won't even be affected. So when we talk about objectivity, it means that you are able to approach situations and you are unbiased about it. And you can be asking that, okay, how can I be unbiased about situation? It means that you must be able to prioritize facts over opinions. That is, you must be able to prioritize facts, that is the truth, over opinions. That is, you can have two different opinions. And how can you be able to manage those two opinions in such a way that both of them, you are able to satisfy their ego. That is where objectivity comes in. That is, you are able to pick the fact, but then you tailor the fact in such a way that both of them, you are able to satisfy their ego. Do you see that now? So now let's move to the next slide. I think we need to be very, very fast. We need to be very fast. Steps to effective conflict resolution. Now, I'm sure this is where many people need help the most. So now that okay, things are happening, how can I resolve conflict? Now, when it comes to individual, probably you between you and your friends, the first thing that you need to know is that you need to ask yourself, does this thing worth it? Yes. Does this thing worth it? That is, this thing that has happened, does it need me stressing over it? If it's something that you don't need to stress over, you can take the I avoiding type of management. That is, you just avoid it, you ignore it. Do you see that now? So ask yourself, does this thing need to be stressed over? And another thing is that when you are communicating or when you are trying to, communicate with your friend or your colleague about the issue, learn how to use the right body language. And that is why conflict management is not something you can get at once, but it's an art that you can actually build yourself on. If you can successfully build yourself in this, sincerely, you won't have issues with people again, and you won't be frustrated with people again because you already know how to manage it. So you must be able to use the right body language. You must be able to focus on facts and not just your personal opinions. That is, you are not just trying to stand on your own opinion that I am the one that am right, I'm the one right. No, but you are able to pick the fact that okay, about this matter, this is actually the fact of this thing. But then how can I communicate this fact in such a way that I'm able to satisfy the other person's ego without losing myself? That is where emotional intelligence comes in. Another thing is allow the other party to speak. Don't be the talkative. Don't be the one always pointing the fingers. You did this, you did that. When I was asking for this, where were you? Where can you go? No, no, you don't do that. Allow the other party to speak. And I tell people that a sign of intelligence is when you are slow to speak and quick to listen. That is, you are not just about doing the talking, and then pointing and blaming the other party, but you allow them to speak. Because when you allow them to speak, you actually give them the room to express how they feel. So if they can express how they feel, then you'll be able to apologize. And even if you are not even apologizing, there is a way you'll be able to handle the matter in such a way that every one of you will be okay. Do you see now? So you must allow the other party to speak. Another thing is be mindful of the language that you use. I've talked about that already. Your body language, your verbal language matters a lot. And another thing is approach the problem with empathy, that is share with other people's feeling. That is why it is important to allow the other party to talk so that you'll be able to know how to respond to the situation. The last thing is refocus the conversation on solution. That is, rather than just talking about the problem and pointing fingers and blaming, what can we do to solve this? Every conflict must resolve into solution. That is the importance of managing conflict. That is, we must come up with a solution. And that is why when you are addressing issues, you are not just talking so that I will say my own, so that they will not try this nonsense with me again. No, no. But you are actually talking about it so that there can be a solution. And next time, the person will not do it again because you've communicated to the person that, okay, this I actually do not like this thing. And this, you'll be able to express yourself without being arrogant or being trying to blame others for things. So now when it comes to organization, you must be able to identify the issue, understand all perspective. This is where active listening comes in. You must be able to understand everybody's perspective. Another thing is identify the interest of each party. That is, you must be able to know what exactly is this one trying to say. What exactly is this one trying to say? What exactly is that one trying to say? put them together, bring an idea out of it. That is where you generate mutual options, and then you come to a conclusion. Then you evaluate the results. That okay, now that we've come to a conclusion, is this thing actually working? So that is that on the steps to effectively managing conflict. That is conflict resolution. Now let's move to the next slide, which I think that will be the last slide. I think. Now I want us to actually talk about this together. How do you think you can handle an already escalated conflict? That is, the conflict has happened. You know that this thing is not like this, so but now that it has even happened, how do I think how can I even handle this thing? So let's discuss within 2 minutes. Who are those that are interested in providing answers to that? How do you think you can handle an already escalated conflict? Anybody, or should I give it as okay, that should be your assignment that you don't need to submit?
Thank you very much. So how can we solve an escalated issue? I feel the first thing is we should listen from both sides. Okay,
Good.
both sides, what do they think about the issue? Then after that, we ourselves should feel like, okay, what should be the right thing to be done? Probably can discuss maybe with our friends or someone we know that can actually resolve that kind of issue. Like what should actually be what should actually be the right thing to do? And like what should be actually the right situation it should be in the
Yeah.
right sense. So then after that, we should be able to like talk to each party. Okay, this is it. We understand you, we get you, but we feel it can be done better this way.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I love that response. I love the fact that you talked about okay, let's hear from everyone, and that is the aspect of perspective, active listening. Okay, let's listen to it, which is very important. Anybody else that want to say something about this? One more person, and then we move to the next thing, and then we end this webinar tonight. Any other person? Okay, Evelyn.
To add to what she said, basically from what she's saying, there's something in HR that, especially when it comes to organization now. So there's something in HR called mediation. So that is bringing a third party that doesn't even have anything to do with this particular situation into this situation. So if we have a conflict between two persons, especially maybe in the same department or different department, we bring somebody that does not have any personal relationship with it. Then from like what she said, we so you hear from the both person, you try to get perspective of both persons. So from also from what you've explained, we come to that point of compromise. If it's something that somebody had to bow to somebody for, there should actually be a balance to whatever situation is happening. So we are not saying this person is right, we are not saying this person is wrong, but we come to that compromise point that okay, it's not like you are this other person, and also we will not also make it obvious that somebody is right or somebody is wrong also. And it's not, we don't want to say it like you were talking about body language. So I can actually react with my body that you were wrong, then this other person is the one that is right, and they like get that message from your body reaction. So what you do is not try to point to that come to that point of understanding different people's perspective. And I think one other thing that will also help us to try to come down to people's level. Different, they have different views about life, they have different opinions and perspective about life. So the way I will react to a particular situation will be different from the way you react to a particular situation. Actually, it's even like that for anybody in a relationship. I mean, romantic relationship or friendship right now, and those in marriage, because I'm coming from a total different background entirely. Then we have different personality. Putting it in the point of being a sanguine or something. So that is it. Are you back on the call?
Yes, I am. I
All right.
am. Okay, thank you so much for that contribution. I so much love the fact that you talked from the level of organization setting, and Tosin talked from the level of individual, and even she even talked a bit about organization setting. So that is just it. That is how to to undo already escalated conflict. I already had it in mind that I'm not going to discuss about this part, but then it is everybody that will, based on what you've learned so far, you'll be able to handle something that has already been escalated. So let's move to the next slide. I think that is the last slide. Yes. And it is the conclusion. Now that we've learned about conflict management, we've learned about the strategies of handling conflict, we've learned about the causes of conflict, we've learned about the types of conflict. Ta ló pè mí? Please, can you still hear me?
Yes, ma.
Okay. Okay, so now there is a need to understand the fact that conflict is the natural part of interaction, and that is because of perspective, upbringing, exposure. Do you see now? So that means it is normal to experience conflict, but then as emotionally intelligent and mentally intelligent people that we are, because we've actually learned already. And when you learn, when you're exposed to a knowledge, it actually that you now know that conflict is a natural how we handle it is whether you choose to handle take your peace and to and constructively. And the process of managing have use of these tips, let me call it tips that I've shared. You won't actually stress over matters again, because you already know, okay, which strategy do I need to use to to avoid, whether to avoid this or to manage a situation. Do you see now? So there so how will I put mental illness? Your mental health is very important, and one of the ways that you value it and you protect it is you learn how to deal with people. Because I realize that many issues today, apart from the the genetic factor, the biological factor, you see, when we talk about the environmental factors, the family, you realize that it's actually yes, but if you can learn this, you realize that there will be less pressure on you. If I thought there will even be pressure, those of pressure. So that is where we will stop tonight. Thank you so much for for joining this webinar. Thank you so much for listening, because I actually feel like it's something very important. And by the grace of God, we have the recording already. Yes, I believe so. That's Eve Network. Did not stop us. So I will decide tonight whether to share it on the community page or not. If I decide to share it, then I will. But if I choose not to share it, just feel like, okay, or do you think I should share it? Do you think I should share it?
We will appreciate
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
What did you say?
I think the other person said yes, ma. I said we would appreciate it, both the
Oh,
recording and the
on what everybody has said. Though I have not agreed though, I will consider. So that's where we'll stop tonight. But then, do we have anybody that has any question? Do we have any question in the house? Do we have any question? Do we have any questions from anyone? It seems we don't have any question. Okay,
hi ma.
over to you.
Hi ma.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to know if like there is maybe at work or a particular person that you have relationship with, and this particular person, there's just this particular person and over there is always conflicts with this particular person, like just a particular person. Like how can we deal with that kind of situation? Like it comes over and over and over.
Okay. So now, when it comes to handling such kind of situation whereby this person is always like is positioning himself like a weapon fashion against somebody, that you are always in issue, you are always having to do is that you need to first understand that person, and that is why there are different kind of management style. Where I talked about avoiding, that is, you can decide to just avoid the person and just go on with your life, or you decide to just accommodate the person, or you decide to just accommodate the person. But then when it comes to your workplace, you realize that okay, sometimes you might have some things to do together. And this is where I would say this, that it is okay to avoid certain kind of people. And the reason is because for the sake of your own efficiency, it is actually okay to avoid certain people. And it's also okay to just accommodate some people just the way they are. Do you get now? Especially if the person is somebody that if the person has been posting how will I put it now? A The person has always been doing it over and over again. Then you know that this person is not looking for just forgiveness. This person is trying to frustrate you. So it's better you just put them where they are and just flow with them, so that you won't, you must be able to protect your mind. Because if you say that you keep addressing and addressing just make sure that it is not affecting your efficiency and your effectiveness. Do you get now?
Yes, thank you very much, ma.
All right. Do we have any other question? Okay. Since we don't have, thank God we ended. Okay, over to Evelyn. I don't know if she's still on this call. Yeah, she is. Over to you. I think that's all for tonight.
All right, thank you all for joining. Thank you. Please, can we say thank you to our speaker in the chat box with reactions?
Thank you,
Please, let's
ma.
keep it going. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was a great session. I already told you guys from the beginning. We were expecting so much wisdom, and yes, she did not disappoint us. We got a lot of wisdom. Yes, because we know that it's flowing from somewhere and then it's never going to go dry. So thank you all for joining today's Friday night convo. Sorry for any inconvenience with joining the meeting and then having to break the meeting and all, and also taking this long time to end the meeting. Yeah, we are getting taking that feedback for ourselves and then looking at what we can do better to make everything effective. So thank you all for joining. See you on Monday. Yes, that's when we have our affirmation.